Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Monday in the Rev. And I am on a link. I am having a little technical difficulty. I don't know how long it'll go on. I can't see if we've got anybody on the show yet or anything, but I guess we can begin with
Stevie B.
yes, Stevie. Looking to Rumble. Yeah, I don't know what's up, guys. I think we might be a bit early, but I'm having all kinds of problems here. But we've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, and let's start first. I mean, not in order of prior importance to people, but let's start with the snowstorm. CJ wrote a very extensive flush on a snowstorm. It was the ode to the blizzard of 2026. Yeah, you gotta love it. Yeah, what a mess. We had a lot of problems with it. CJ tried to get a hold of their technical support. We're still waiting. That was this morning, so we're still waiting on it. But yeah, the blizzard was a catastrophe. All I can say is it's ironic. It's ironic. I have thought about what happened, and they brought those people in. They did do some. They did help a little bit. They at least cleaned my hydrant, But CJ opened his weekend flush with a really there she is.
Huh?
That's the view.
No, Stevie, it's not that we're ending our X account or our Twitter account. Our account will still be active. It's just that it will no longer auto-publish the weekend flush on the X format. X has terminated their contract with our providers, and now they want big bucks for us to automatically publish the weekend flush on X or Twitter. And nobody wants to pay them, so they're going to lose that revenue stream.
That's right. So about the storm, CJ opened up his weekend flush with something. Said, "This is the quote. I have embraced crying mothers who have lost their children because our politicians put their personal agendas before the national good. I have no patience for injustice, no tolerance for government incompetence, no sympathy for leaders who fail their citizens." That was Donald Trump who made that very telling statement about government. That's why they hate him. He's not a politician. And what happened in the city of Fall River is a testament to lack of leadership and the inability to accept any kind of accountability. And it was ironic because over the weekend they're talking about what's happening now over in Iran, obviously, and Fox Media, and I watched them, all of them, but we watch news constantly, CJ and I. But they ran a clip of Ronald Reagan in 1987. Remember the Contra issue?
Yes, I do.
And Ronald Reagan, the president of the United States, got up in front of a camera and said, "I take full responsibility. I had nothing to do with what they did, but what they did was wrong, and I am their boss. I am the president of the United States, and even though I had absolutely nothing to do with this, I didn't know what they did. They're going to be dealt with, but I am taking responsibility because, like Harry Truman said, the buck stops there. No more. I'm a vice principal. I don't know numbers. I don't. They turned this into a catastrophe. That what's happened to this city is outrageous. I had two guys from out of town with a truck and uh, a mini backhoe, and they dug out the hydrant. I gave them some water. I said, "You guys want some water?" I gave them a few bottles of water apiece, and they were nice guys, and they were just doing their job. But they took all the snow, and now everybody on my street has 8 to 9 feet of snow on their sidewalk. So at least the hydrant's full. At least the hydrant's
That's right. And
But-
James, to quote a famous movie, this town needs an enema.
That's right. CJ said that numerous times, but
I have.
But yeah, and the thing is, listen, this bullshit of trying to evade, blame everybody, and that Reagan clip reminded me because I had Oliver North. Remember, everybody remembers if you know about Contras and stuff, you know about Oliver North. Oliver North, we had that big issue, but it shows what leadership truly is. Truman took responsibility. He said the buck stops here. Reagan in '87 said, I wasn't aware of what they did, but I'm the boss. I'm supposed to. I have to take responsibility for everybody that works under me. It's my responsibility. What does Paul say? Hey, I can't tell the department heads what to do. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. He jeopardized the safety and the lives of people. They're still jeopardized. You can't get fire apparatus down my street without bulldozing the thing. It gets so narrow right now with a car parked on the non-hydrant side. The snowdrift is still so far away from the curb on the street alongside the fire station, on the south side of the fire station, that I've got an SUV. It's not a huge SUV. It's an average SUV. I got 2 inches on either side going between that and the car that's parked along the curb. Then emergency vehicles will have to, hit the snow bank to get down there. Come up the street the wrong way, whatever. But I mean, this is insane. We have a gross. We have a boob in charge. He is not the mayor. He's the boob in charge. He doesn't take any responsibility. And, go back and look at that. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. 1987, Ronald Reagan accepting responsibility for something he didn't know about because he should have known about it. He said, I'm the boss. I can't duck it. I'm not running and hiding. I'm not saying Oliver North did it without my permission, and he did. But it's still my fault because they work for me. And when things don't get done, it's on me. And with that, I guess we're gonna wait for we're gonna wait for the springtime to get rid of the snow. Yeah, well, they're bringing up the War Powers, but the War Powers Act does give them the possibility. And you know what bothers me more than anything else, James, is the Democrats complaining about, they're running around in the streets of the United States with Trump's a war criminal, blah, blah, blah. And you had that Rashida Tlaib basically say she wanted Israel eradicated in the United States, and she's in Congress. But when people say, I don't understand why they're doing this. Oh, we had one guy on I got a message. I saw somebody sent me a Facebook. The guy said, well, why did they do this? Now they're attacking their bases. They've been attacking our bases for decades. They blew up the Marine barracks. Anybody remember that? I do. They blew up a Marine barracks. They held over 400 Americans hostage for a year under Carter. They're killing Americans every day through their proxies or them directly. Why are they doing that, moron? I'm going to tell you why. Because their They're shelling our bases right now with conventional weapons. If we don't take them out, one day they're going to shell that base with a nuke and kill every American on that base. That's why we're doing it. It's amazing. The Democrats are pissing and moaning because Donald Trump did it. The Iranians in this country and the Iranians in Iran are celebrating in the streets, saying, thank you, President Trump, thank you. But, they killed 34,000 of us for demonstrating. They call him a dictator. But they're demonstrating for somebody who killed 34,000 demonstrators. They're calling him a dictator. This guy's a dictator, the Ayatollah. They're doing the same thing with Venezuela. They were celebrating when we got rid of Maduro. There's even a video out. Guess where? Cuba. The Cubans made a video. Donald, save us. Save us, Donald, in Spanish. It was translated to English so I could read it, but they're begging him to come over and get rid of their dictator. And the Americans, just because Donald Trump did it, why did they do it? Well, because they don't want to get nuked. Now they're lobbing everything at us. And if they get nuclear weapons, they'll be lobbing nuclear weapons into the United States. They have been yelling, they've been chanting death to America since 1979.
And
so you want to give them a nuke, you morons?
What's
interesting? Moronic Democrats? I don't know. Why did they do it? Well, they killed, unfortunately, it's a sad commentary, but unfortunately, soldiers die. That's why it pisses me off even to think about these all our military in harm's way, while our representative delegation won't give them housing when they come home. So that aggravates me. But well, it's not a foreign conflict, James. It's a threat to the United States. Trump's right on that. They are a threat to the United States. They always have been a threat. They are the number one sponsor in the world. Every terror attack that has been perpetrated on the United States, fundamentally, 98% of them were financed by Iran. And that's the problem. Therein lies the problem. It is a preemptive strike. I don't know if you were in the military, but as one of the senators must have talked to somebody who was in the military, he was in the military, he said, it is better to shoot the archer before he releases the arrow. You got to the point where we were very close again to a nuclear warhead. They have to put them down. They have to eliminate this leadership because they had every intent of killing Americans, and it showed what barbarians they are. They are sending strikes intentionally into civilian areas. They're doing surgical strikes into military targets. They're killing the people they need to kill. But the Iranians, the IRG, they're launching attacks on hotels, airports, civilian targets. These people are barbarians, and the only thing they live for is to kill Americans and Israelis and anybody who isn't a Muslim. And that's the reality. So what do you want to wait for? You want to wait till they nuke us, till they get an ICBM and lob a couple of nukes over here and wipe out millions of Americans? I don't. I'm sorry. I have to disagree with that position. We sometimes you have to stick your nose in a fight because ultimately it'll affect you. If you let cancer grow, it'll kill you. If you cut it out, you might have a chance of surviving. Iran has been a cancer to the world since 1979. They're celebrating. They're out in the streets celebrating because that regime is so repressive. They kill their own people. So, I'm sorry. Nobody wants to do this. We don't want to see our military. We don't want to have gold star mothers. We've got enough gold star mothers in this country. But you can't allow a country like that in any kind of capability, nuclear capability. Yeah, well, that's the thing. You can make a deal with a country that's a bunch of liars. Their philosophy, you can't make a deal with a country that will say you guys aren't going to nuke us and then the next day they're out in the street and the Ayatollah is saying death to America, death to Israel, death to anybody that isn't Muslim. They kill each other. The Shiites are celebrating because the Sunnis have been killing them for years, and vice versa. These people are just, you don't understand a culture. I do. I grew up in the Arabic culture. I know the culture. I know the history. They still can't even agree who's running a religion. I'm serious.
I know.
I'm serious. They've been arguing who's running a religion since Muhammad died, since the Prophet Muhammad died. Half of the Muslims think that it should have been a direct descendant of Muhammad. The other half feels that Muhammad's primary prophet who took over the reins should run it. And that's why the Shiites and the Sunnis kill each other. If we're not there, they kill each other. They always have. And they mow their own people down. They're barbarians. They killed 34,000 protesters. They want to call Trump a dictator. They're demonstrating for the Ayatollah. You shouldn't have killed the Ayatollah. Let them kill more Iranians. Why did we have thousands of Iranians flooding the streets of blue cities, New York City, LA, waving American and Iranian flags? Because we destroyed an evil thug. Sometimes you just got to get into it. And this is not boots on the ground. I mean, it's not boots on the ground, but it showed what they're made of. They attack civilians. They're trying to kill civilians all over the Middle East. And if they could get one over here, you better be careful. The Democrats don't want to fund Department of Homeland Security. I can guarantee you there are going to be attacks, and there already has been. They had one guy with a T-shirt, "Property of Allah," and underneath he had an Iranian flag T-shirt. Another radical that wants to kill people. So, I mean, you're going to let this country get stronger and get nukes? You got to be batshit crazy. I'm sorry. That's right, Adeline. Very well said. Yeah, it is so sad that they support everybody but us, and we have to protect Americans. And if they ever had nuclear capability, listen, these people are there's something wrong with them. They will blow themselves up if they're told to. These radicals. So they're going to send somebody over here with a nuclear bomb attached to them and blow a city up. Or if they get ICBMs, they're going to hit us with them. I mean, listen, anybody that's saying that this isn't justified, they're going to try to get the tech. Oh, the war powers and bullshit. If your neighbor's setting up 50 caliber machine guns in his yard and you're having an argument with him, you better respond. You better take him out before he starts putting ammunition in that 50 caliber. So I'm sorry. But, like I said, how can you reconcile the fact that the Iranians Yeah, well, they were going to look. They've been arguing. You're not going to cure. You're never going to ever get. You're not ever going to get any agreement with these people, because let me explain something to you. There's a very well-known Lebanese writer, okay, called Khalil Gibran. Khalil Gibran was a philosopher and a poet and a great writer. He's the most famous writer. Actually, John Kennedy paraphrased his and got all his traction with that statement. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. That was actually first said by Khalil Gibran in the book The Prophet. Because he said, don't ask God what God can do for you, ask what you can do for God. All depend, And also Robert Kennedy's quote about the future was taken from Khalil Gibran's book, The Sand and the Pebbles. But he talked about the Arab culture. The Arab culture is very tribal. They hold grudges from 1,000 years. He said, me against my brother and I against our cousin, my brother and I against my neighbor. They have been feuding since the beginning of time. They don't settle. As a matter of fact, if you ever watched the movie Lawrence of Arabia, at the end of the movie, before they were going to invade Aqaba, there was a murder in a camp. And the guy ran into the tent and told Lawrence, oh, there's been a murder. So-and-so killed so-and-so. And Omar Sharif, who played the guy who was his liaison for the Arab tribes that they had gotten together for the first time, he looked at him and said, why? And Omar Sharif looked at him and said, I can't tell you. He said, it was a blood feud. He said, and it probably goes back 1,000 years, and he doesn't even know what started it. But all he knew was he got the opportunity to kill somebody that they had a blood feud with, and he killed him. That's the mentality you're dealing with. Plus a religion that preaches kill everybody but them. You really got to make sure that you keep a lid on their power and their ability to do damage, because they've been doing damage, like I said, since '79. How anybody can think this is not the right thing to do? You really, really need to start studying some history. You really need to start studying some history, because it's not, and like I said, I know it firsthand, know the culture. My mother was in Syria. There was no Lebanon. They're in World War I, and they had to hide them in the chicken coops when the Turks came, so they could survive. So I know how brutal those people are. My mother was a child being hidden in a chicken coop to protect them. So, I mean, and these idiots are going to say, "Oh, we shouldn't have get this. This guy should have been dead in '79. We never had anybody with a set of cojones until we got Donald Trump, and he's not a politician." And the quote that CJ put to open the show said it best. He has no tolerance for this, and you want to mess. He's going to protect the American citizens, and there will be, they will still. Who do you think was instrumental in 9/11? How many times are they going to kill Americans? They killed 80 some Marines when they bombed the barracks. How many Americans are these people going to kill before Americans start demonstrating to keep them alive while they kill our soldiers? I don't know. You got to be crazy. Yeah, I mean, this is outrageous, and they can debate it all they want. And there was another thing that hit the news. I don't know if you guys are aware of it. There was a crash in Swansea that people were killed. Car burst into flames, and I guess the individual who hit them was.
That's old news.
Okay.
That's last week.
But did you know that this guy was being looked for on a homicide?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's why he was in the chase. Cranston police wanted him.
Yeah, he was looking for a homicide. I didn't. That's up on my. That's on my thing today. They just sent another thing on it. I don't know why they're sending it, but like I said, but two people died unnecessarily. Uh, yeah, I mean, they're just. Yeah, but yeah, it wasn't Lebanon then. Lebanon didn't become Lebanon until 1929, James. It was a French. It was under French control during World War One. But it was still considered part of Syria. My mother's uh, when my mother came back to the United States in 1920, she left in 22. The boat didn't get here till 23. But I have her passport, and it says port of embarkation, Beirut, Syria. It wasn't Lebanon in World War One. It was still Syria. So, but that's irrelevant. I mean, that's where the Christians were. That's where my mother. That's why Lebanon was. Basically, the Lebanon was mostly Christian. They were not Muslim. That's the reason that they had the problems they have. They had with the Muslims because they were not Muslim. So, but you can call it anything you want, but the fact is, like these countries are. I mean, Iran has been, and they're not even technically Arabs. They're Persians, and they consider themselves different. Yeah, well, let's see how upset they'd be if they nuked us. You know, I mean, Tucker Carlson's a millionaire. Yeah, they may not hit his mansion, but I can tell you one thing: they will escalate their attacks here because they got attacked.
And let me tell you something: if the United States got hit by even a conventional missile from Iran, they would say the president's not doing anything.
Exactly, and the thing is that that's the whole key. These people are living in a dream world. You freaking think that they're not going to nuke us when they get a nuke? Like I said, how many Americans do they have to kill, Tucker? They've been doing it since '79. They're bombing Marine barracks. They're bombing it. They helped finance 9/11. That killed thousands of Americans. No, don't do anything. Be reactive rather than proactive. Well, in the military, sometimes you got to be proactive.
You know what's interesting? Right. The dichotomy of stupidity, okay, runs rampant in America. And if you want a small snapshot of it, just a small snapshot, look at this snowstorm here in Fall River. Okay? Everyone shoveled their cars out. They put the snow in the street or on the sidewalk. Then they go and they put chairs, cones, barrels, buckets in their parking space because that's my parking space. I worked on it. It's mine. And then if you pull into that parking space on a public roadway, okay, they start screaming. They flatten your tires. But if the city came by and took away your chairs, your buckets, your cones, the damn city, blah, 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 blah. You bitch about everything. They clean the street. You're unhappy because they got big mounds of snow in your neighborhood. Make up your freaking mind. Do you want to drive or do you want to sit in snow?
We are too spoiled in America, CJ. You know that. We're too spoiled.
I know.
It's like these guys that are saying, well, what are we going to do? We're going to wait until they kill thousands of Americans. And then, like you said, you hit it right on the head. Then they'll blame the president for doing nothing. Why did you let this happen? How could you let this happen? You're the military. You got the intelligence. They're saying they had a nuke. You waited till they nuked us. And then they'd all be crying. I mean, look at the insanity of this. The people in the country that were attacking surgically are celebrating in the streets that we're killing these SOBs.
Right.
And we're bitching. Keep them alive. Keep them alive so they can kill more of us. Well, they're
And
only
in
killing
2
us a little bit at a
And in
time.
2 minutes, a demonstration, a protest is going to start in downtown Providence to bitch, piss, and moan about the attack on Iran.
Yeah.
Now, remember this. Clinton did it and Obama did it. No War Powers Act activated.
Yeah.
And the Democrats said nothing.
Yeah, and Carter let them keep prisoners for a year.
That's right.
And what happened? You got a president with a set of Corleones, and as soon as Reagan took office, they released them. This is the problem. Why can't people think that while they're having that demonstration in Providence, in New York City, the Iranians were yelling, "Thank you, Donald Trump"?
Right.
I mean, Americans are too insulated. They think that we're untouchable, and because of our oceans, we're separated by oceans. They think we're untouchable. God forbid if they ever come and start hitting this country. How are these people going to react?
And you know what the worst part about
They're living in a dream world.
And you know what the worst part about it is? The worst part about it is that there's nobody in this country to defend it. There's nobody in this country to defend it because the pussification of America is ridiculous. Okay? They'll go out there. They'll start coming across the border with guns. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to go, "Please don't kill me. I'll support you. I'm right behind you. I'll protest as president. Anything that you want me to do, I'll do."
You're right. That's the
Because
sad
that's the way
part
they
about
are.
it. Yeah.
It's the pussification of America.
It is. And the thing is, it's crazy. You know, I mean, these people just, they're oblivious. And that's one of the things that when you go to Europe, and I was stationed in Europe, that they think Americans are like clueless, and they are, because we're untouchable. They think we're untouchable, and we're not. They kill us here. When we got 9/11, you think somebody remembered? It wasn't that long ago. It was in time for somebody that wasn't born then. But they forgot they killed nearly 3,000 Americans. 2,995. And the thing that bothers me, Adeline, is the fact that this is done strictly for politics. You're not going to tell me that some of these nitwits, especially the ones that were in the military, that were in the military and are now complaining. They're complaining about technical stuff. Oh, we didn't have the power. Well, let me tell you something. If you're in the military and you see people walking through the wire, and that are going to try to kill you, you're going to shoot them when you see them. You're not going to let them come in and blow you up.
Oh, what? You mean you don't sit there and go, "Come on over here. Let me talk to you. I want to know what's going on." You don't do that?
No, you don't.
You got your gun, you bring it up, go bang, bang, you're dead. Go away.
Look what these wokies did. I saw a meme about, well, I guess they know now that our military, the people who are running our military, no longer are wearing dresses.
That's right.
And it's true. They're acting like military people. And like Hegseth said in his speech, people have to know that if you kill an American anywhere in the world, we will hunt you down and kill you. We will not allow you to have the tools to kill us either, especially in mass. And I mean, and when you see these people that are supposed to be military people, that were in the military, they've sold their soul for politics. They're a disgrace. They're a disgrace because, as I think it was Senator Cotton said, an old adage, kill the archer before he releases the arrow. That way he can't hurt anybody with the arrow. And that's exactly what we've done. We've taken out. But look at what we got in Congress. We've got Rashida Tlaib calling Israel the Zionist terrorists that are killing everybody. Oh, yeah, guess what they did? on October 7th didn't mean anything when they beheaded babies and killed stuff. I mean, these people are, these people are insane. They're insane, and and a lot of them know better. That's what upsets me the most. That they know better. They know better. When you got these bums that were in the military that are now Democrats and are not trying to make a political thing on this rather than applauding them, when the people of Iran, the people of Venezuela, the people, Iranians all over the world were waving flags because that evil dictatorship had been put down and that evil leader. And we're gonna have, oh, we love the Ayatollah, we should have let him live. Well, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, they're lucky I was never president, because I would have taken him out in 79. He would have lasted about 3 days. That, after he took American hostages, we would have got the hostages out and taken out everybody. Yeah, you're right. I wish they would too. You know how long they'd last there? About a New York second. That's how long they'd last there. Yeah, let them go over there and demonstrate, because if they started with their flags,
let's go spend some time under Sharia law. See how long you last.
Yeah. Well, he killed 34,000 Iranians that were demonstrating peacefully.
Right.
So how long do you think these clowns would last in Iran if they got pissed off at him and decided to demonstrate? Yeah. Yeah. The Iran briefing. Well, they said they were within days of nuclear, and they keep, that's the thing. They don't quit. I think James talked about it before. They had an agreement. You can't make an agreement with these people. You make an agreement, and in the next minute, he's on national TV in Iran saying, "Death to the Americans! Kill Satan! The little Satan, Israel, the big Satan, America! Kill them all!" And it's like, yeah, you just made an agreement with him. You really think he's going to make an agreement? He's going to abide by the agreement?
You know what's interesting?
Geez.
Have you ever seen any of the films of the history of Iran from the 1970s before the takeover? It was like America. People were acting like they did in America. They were free. They did what they wanted. I guess the Shah of Iran wasn't so much of a tyrant. They had nightclubs. They had bars. They had movie theaters. Women were driving cars. Women were smoking. Women were drinking. Everybody was part of the program.
And nobody had a hajib.
That's right. Now,
they could actually show their face without getting thrown off a roof or stoned to death. See, these people don't have a clue. What they need is a reality check, okay? And I'm going to give you guys a reality check, okay? You want to see evil? I'm going to show you evil. And remember when they call us Nazis and stuff. Can you see this? You know what those are?
I know what they are.
You know what they are?
I know what they are.
You know what they are? Those are bodies in Buchenwald. Those are the pictures my father donated to the Holocaust Museum in Washington. I have more pictures, worse pictures than that. That's evil. Show these wokey assholes those pictures. Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, they deny the Holocaust. They call us Nazis. That's what evil people do.
Hey, you know what they should do with Ilhan Omar? Revoke her U.S. citizenship and deport her. Let's see how long she lasts under Sharia law.
Yep.
Now that would be political. That would be political.
And you know what that would be? Justice.
It would.
It would be true justice. It would be Hammurabi's code. Give them exactly what they did. They want, they don't care. Tlaib actually called, basically, she called Israel a terrorist state and ignored all the terrorism that these people do. These people do not belong in the Congress of the United States of America. I mean, only in America could you have a radical like that spewing the anti-American shit that they do after they swore an oath to the Constitution, and they wouldn't stand up. Remember, when Trump said, if you feel American safety comes first before illegals, stand up, only John Fetterman stood up. They're telling you, we don't matter. Yeah, you're right, James. Omaha went and when she got here, she had like $47. Then she went to 600,000. Now she's up at 8 million. Yeah. How does that happen with a congressional salary? Yeah, but I mean, this is what they should do to these people. You want to hate America? Fine, hate us, call us whatever you want, but go live where you think it's better. We're so terrible, but you never leave, you son of a. I mean, it's outrageous. I mean, and this is the problem. You have nothing but politicians and no leaders. You have a leader. No, he doesn't care about politics. He's going to do what he thinks is right. You had a leader with Reagan. These people are not leaders. When Reagan took responsibility for something that he didn't have any part of, but he said, it's my responsibility as the president. I have to take it. I am ultimately responsible. But look does Paul Coogan ever do that? No. Does anybody? There's always an excuse. And you know what the universal excuse is? Trump. It's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault. Trump did it right. If Obama did this, he would have been the greatest president in the history of America. He saved us. He got rid of this tyrannical ruler who's been nothing but a thorn in their side to the entire world, not just America. They're responsible for the bombings in Germany, the UK, everywhere. They're the world's leading sponsor and supporter of terrorism. They fund Hezbollah. And Hezbollah is starting now. And the Houthis and everybody else. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, Pelosi makes them all look like pikers, James. She's like the prototype. She's their idol. How Nancy became she made more money on a stock market than any expert in a stock exchange ever made. So, I mean, they're nothing but corrupt scumbags. Yeah, Alphonse, your uncle was he's the only survivor. No, my father's brother. My father was on the ground my father was on the ground fighting in World War II.
Imagine for one moment, if they pass, not like I think they will, the insider trading bill against the House and the Senate. And with it, they put in there a clause that any monies earned while a U.S. congressman or a U.S. senator must be returned to the people. What that would do to them. They would have a heart attack.
Oh, yeah, that's why it'll never go. I mean, it's a great idea. But you know what? It's like now. They're worried about Iran. They're worried about Venezuela. They're worried about everything, but they don't worry about the veterans sleeping in the streets. And we got veterans now losing their lives. Yeah, because he had 6 years to get rid of it, James. That's why. That's why. You know the irony of it? When Jazel implemented that insurance, we never had any problem getting trucks, did we?
That's right.
Think about that, James. Think about that. Jazel was in. We had snowstorms. We didn't have any problems. You think it's Paul Coogan and picking and choosing his friends, and his friends don't want to pay the insurance? I don't know. Maybe they should have insurance. Maybe they shouldn't have insurance.
Or
But
maybe
this is his 7th year in office.
Or
If
maybe
it was such a bad idea, why didn't he get rid of it?
right. Or maybe the administration required that they get their insurance from one company.
That's right.
That would name the city of Fall River as a co-beneficiary,
That's right.
as a co-insured. I wonder why. Oh, and for you people who keep asking, trash is on a regular schedule this week. Regular schedule. So if you didn't put your trash out last night for a Monday pickup, you're out of luck for another week. Okay, another week. Trash is following the regular schedule this week.
Well,
Cut and dry, very simple. And if you're too stupid to realize that, because you can't read, because you got your head up your ass while you're trying to see your computer screen, you've got a problem.
well, James now has said that you're right about opera funds. We could have got a lot of things with opera funds, not
That's
$7
right.
million. But the SAVE Act is officially dead. So there's the Democrats again, and some Republicans that don't want you to have an ID to prove you're a citizen so illegals can vote. So, and because they're kowtowing because of they may have an election in jeopardy, and it's a shame. You got to show an ID to buy a pack of cigarettes. You got to show an ID to get on an airplane. You got to show an ID. You know, you got to prove who you are for virtually everything in the country. And the most important,
You got to show an ID to get a job.
yeah.
You got to show an ID to get your food stamps. You got to show an ID to
Well,
get.
not if you're a Somali. Not if you're a Somali, CJ.
That's
You
true.
just get them. No, well, Coogan didn't use the opera funds for anything except his friends. That's what he did it for. Of course. Of course. The only place you don't need voter ID, James, is a place that's corrupt. You may not need an ID in Haiti to vote. Look at Minnesota. Look at how that blue state, they can cheat. You wonder why Ilhan Omar gets in and stuff? Yeah, that's horse shit. You know that in Minnesota, if you go into the polls and you're a registered voter, you can vouch for up to 8 people. And they let him vote. Oh yeah, I know him. This guy's a citizen. Okay, he can vote. And so is this guy and this guy and this guy. Then the next Somalian brings in another one. You wonder why these people have the power in Minnesota? You know, the last thing they want you to do is prove who the hell you are. It's absurd. Yeah, the race card or the stupidity card. They're calling women stupid. Oh, women can't get that. How about Newsom? How ridiculous is Newsom? I don't know. I don't know where my birth certificate. I don't know how to get a birth certificate. You really? You don't know where you were born, Gavin? You know what a French Laundry is during COVID when you're supposed to be locked in your house. You don't put water in the reservoirs. Shit, you let the place burn down. They still haven't built houses back over a year after the fire. You don't know where to get a birth certificate. You don't have it. You don't know where you were born, where there's a city hall. And in some communities, you can get them online.
That's right.
Gavin, are you really that dumb? Actually, that's his new campaign. Did you see did you see him during the interview when he told the guy he was stupid? Oh, you know, I don't want you to think I'm any smarter than you. I'm not saying I'm smarter than anybody. You know, I'm just a regular yo-yo. Well, come and run for mayor in Fall River. You'll get elected if you get bounced somewhere. Because look at what we got. We got the guy that doesn't take responsibility for everything, has no accountability in any department. and has zero leadership. I mean, it's mind-boggling how dumb these people are. I mean, really, you know, the reality is he was, when a wise man once said, you can't fix stupid. He was right, and these people just and in such a cocoon, they think we're untouchable. We are not untouchable. There will be, there will be consequences, and if they got a nuke, there would have been some serious. And then everybody complained, like you said, CJ, you hit it right on the head. It's going to be Trump. True. What did he do? He didn't do anything. They got it. What do we got a CIA for? What do we got? What do we got a military intelligence for? Well, to tell us where the threats are. That's where the threats were. They were.
Well, I'm sorry, but military intelligence is a contradiction of terms.
Yeah, it's an oxymoron. Yeah, I know. That's the old saying, right? But there's also another military term that applies to democratic cities and states and guys like Coogan and mayors like Coogan and governors like the Cabbage Patch governor, and that's snafu. Situation normal, all effed up.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. That's another military freaking acronym.
That's right.
It's a snafu. And, yeah, I mean, these people are crazy. And, they're right. Senator Cotton was right. These people don't have a clue. You're going to let them get a nuclear weapon, launch it, and kill Americans and wipe out a whole base. And maybe get an ICBM and hit the United States before you do anything. That's really not the brightest thing in the world to do. And, like he said, kill the archer before he releases his arrow. That way he can't kill one of you. And that's what they did. And I know why everybody's all amped up now, because Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar hate Israel. I mean, they are, because Israel was a partner, and the reality is that they're a great partner for the United States. They have they probably have the second best military in the world behind the United States. Those people can unfortunately fight because they have to. They're surrounded by people who have been trying to kill them since 1948. And they've had numerous wars and defeated all the Arab countries when they were united against them and still beat them. And
they've been fighting the good fight since the time of the pharaohs.
Yeah. They have been fighting, and they have they have one of the best intelligence agencies, the Mossad, and their soldiers. And that's the great thing. You know what I'd like? I always said the thing I love about Israel, they should do it in the United States, but they couldn't, because you imagine the mass suicides we'd have. It's worse than transitioning. You talk about they'll commit suicide if you don't let them transition. Well, in Israel, when you're 18, men and women have to go into the military for 2 years.
Hey, that's not only in Israel. Portugal's the same way.
But in Israel, you actually
countries are like that.
Yeah.
A lot of European countries are like that.
Oh, I know that. But you imagine if they took all these little babies and dragged them away from mommy and daddy and threw them in the military for 2 years. I can see them in the barracks whimpering in the bunks, crying for mommy because they had to get up and become adults. Nobody's around to protect them. Nobody's going to give them anything. They're going to get up and they're going to be trained, and to me, the military is the greatest experience you could ever have. Get in there and be away from all your little friends and all your little support groups, and you have to learn how to become somebody who's self-sufficient. We should re-implement the draft, and in 18, everybody should go in the military. But no, we're protected by the greatest military in the world and 2 oceans. So they think we're insulated, but we're not. Not with today's technology. Countries like this get nuclear capabilities, they will blow up. They will blow us to shit. Yeah, well, that's exactly right. Crap, Stevie. Wow, you got a lot of adjectives in there, Stevie. Well, that may be the longest adjective chain I've ever seen. Great work. Holy moly. Wow. I have to save that one, and I'm gonna have to take a picture of that one and count all the adjectives in a row. That's the greatest adjective chain I've ever seen put together. No, you're right. Listen, there were guys that there were conscientious objectors in World War I, World War II. As a matter of fact, Alvin York, who won a Medal of Honor, was a conscientious objector, and he won a Medal of Honor. And we've had conscientious. They become medics. They become, they can serve in the military and not carry a rifle. If they have, but it would make them realize that they wrap them in cotton now and then put that bubble wrap around them. Then they put another layer of cotton and another layer of bubble wrap, and it's like they grow up like little. They're in a cocoon their whole life. They're still living in mommy's basement, and they think that they can go out and make fools out of themselves, and there are no consequences. Well, when you're in the military and you're in a barracks with people from all over the place, and nobody knows you, you got no friends, so you got to stand up for yourself. Yeah, well, like they got rid of the draft. That was the biggest mistake in history. But even the draft, I mean, as it got away from World War II and Korea, it got worse because politicians always figured out ways to let their people who were connected to get out of it. We had in Vietnam, if you went to college, you couldn't get drafted. If you had children, you couldn't get drafted. You went in the National Guard, you didn't go overseas. Now the National Guard's deployed everywhere. That used to be the place they escaped not to go into the military and be drafted. Right. So it was harder to get into the National Guard during Vietnam than it was to get into Harvard. So think about that. So and that was true. But the difference was, if you were an enlisted man and you enlisted in the National Guard and you missed 2 meetings, they sent the MPs to your house, handcuffed you, brought you in, sent you to basic training, and sent you over. But Bush's kid, Bush didn't do that. He jumped 5,000 people in the Air National Guard, so he didn't have to get drafted. But that's, but this country did what it had to do. I don't care. You can disagree, but like I said, when you have Iranians celebrating, and you have the people in the countries that we're doing this at in tears because they're so happy they've been freed. Now we got the Cubans asking for the Donald. But listen, I don't agree with everything Trump does, but I'll tell you what, as a guy who was in the military, I understand, and I listened to Hegseth this morning. They were 100% right. These guys are a bunch of clowns. And let's keep all our military who are in harm's way in our thoughts and prayers. And we have already lost 4, and there were 5 severely wounded. But there will be attacks because that's a consequence of war. But they are fighting to protect us. So remember that.
That's it. Well, I want to thank you all for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We're going to get a lot of rain over the next couple of days, so hopefully all the snow goes away. Have a great evening. Enjoy yourself.